Good day. Today we have day 4 and the last day of the Prosperity Marathon. Hello. Today we have the last day of the Prosperity Marathon, and I have something very, very special planned for today's class. And it's going to be really, really incredible. We will have some practices we will do, meditation practices, to walk on the topic of prosperity. And I will also share and talk about this topic today, which is very, very important, because we normally don't move past this stage of prosperity. Okay? So for this live stream, the only thing you really need is some water. You can make some tea and do the practices. If you do join the meditations that we will do, it's so incredible. And they were the practices that I teach. Every single one that I teach, I have done for extended period of time. And they were the ones that really brought the change in my life. So today we will do some special practices to walk with the topic of prosperity. And I'm going to also talk about a really special topic because it's the most important. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me well? Welcome. When we think about any of our wishes, any of our goals right now, think about what's the first wish that comes to mind? I remember my first wish that would always come to mind was being able to move to Spain. I lived in Singapore my whole life. I was born there. I grew up there. And one of my wishes was to move to Spain, to Barcelona. And for me, this was just a really nice idea. It's like, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to move and to be able to do a job that's online, and then to be able to support myself and live in this amazing city that's very, very far away from where I was born and where I lived my whole life. And I just love the idea so much. But for me, I never moved past that stage of, wouldn't it be nice to have this? And I did this as well with having an online job. I was like, wow, it would be so nice to have an online job, to be able to teach yoga and to do these other jobs, but all online so I could live in Barcelona. Wouldn't it be so nice if I could be earning at least 2,000 euros a month and be able to sustain myself living here? And pay for my rent, pay for my food, and still have money left over to do whatever I want. And for me, I just lived in that stage of, it would be nice to have it. It would be nice. Yeah, I should do some stuff and figure out how I can start my online business and how I can grow my yoga business. It would be nice. Yeah, I should do that. I should have an income of at least 2,000 euros. That would be really nice. And for the first 3 years, this was the way I lived, where it was just a really nice idea. It would be nice to move to Barcelona and live with my partner. Who has this? Do you have a wish right now, a goal right now? And you think about it and you think, yes, it would be nice to have it. It would be nice to have a 30% increase in my pay. It would be nice if my boss gave me a bonus. It would be nice if they finally recognize my value and my talent and finally gave me the raise, the job, whatever it is you want. And for me, this was just enough, just to have this idea, because I felt like this was prosperity. This was prosperity, just to say it would be nice if I could live in Spain. It would be nice if I could have my own job. It would be nice if I was earning 2,000 euros and I could buy myself a nice dress. It would be nice if I could go and spend 100 euros on dinner. For me, it was just that. It would be nice. And I never moved past this stage. I learned this from my parents. For them, every time they would talk about their wishes, their goals, and yes, it would be nice, Simran, if we could afford this. It would be nice if we could do that, but we don't have the luxury, we don't have the time, we don't have the money, or right now it's just not a good time. And so for me, I learned this very directly from them, that it would be nice, but that's it. It's just a wish, a dream. It's almost like a prayer. You're hoping something will come and it will work out by itself. And my partner, me and him, had decided when we visited Barcelona for the first time together, we both fell in love with the city and we decided, let's move here. And he had already started his own work, so he was already earning money and he was able to afford to move to Barcelona, pay rent, support himself, but I was not. So for the first 3 years in our relationship, we did long distance back and forth. I would come here for a few months until my visa ran out. Then I would go home. I would work, whatever jobs I could find. And then I would save up and then I would come back. And so we did our relationship in the first 3 years like this. And the entire time I kept thinking, wow, it would be so nice if I could finally move to Spain. I could finally be able to live in Barcelona with my partner. And it never came. Nobody ever gave me the chance or the opportunity to be able to move there. I didn't have enough money. My job teaching yoga wasn't taking off. And nothing really clicked in that sense, where it's just like automatically there was a solution and I was able to move to Barcelona. And I remember on my last trip, what happened was, during COVID, I left before COVID happened from Barcelona. I went back to Singapore because my visa was running out. I moved back home, and for 11 months, I couldn't see my partner. I was stuck in Singapore. And this is when this need, I would say even anger started to drive me, because I was like, I'm stuck here. I can't do anything. I can't visit my partner. And instead of being able to go back and see him every few months, now I can't see him at all. 1 month passed by, 2 months, 5 months, 8 months, 10 months go by. And nothing is changing. It's horrible. And I realized during this time that it was just the entire time I kept living on this hope that life would change, that something would come and it would make it better, or like I was waiting for a fairy godmother to come, be like, okay, here's your solution. And nothing ever changed. Nothing came. And in fact, the worst thing happened. I wasn't able to see him for 10 months straight. And then I went to a prosperity workshop with my teacher. And we did a special meditation to make wishes come true. I did the class. I set the wish. I said, I want to go to Barcelona on the 14th of February. This was in 2020. February 2020 or 2021. One of those years. And I said, okay, I want to be there on the 14th of February 2020. And at this time, it was around 11th of January. So I had a month ahead, and it was still COVID. It was still really bad, the situation. Stores, malls were closed. You couldn't walk anywhere for longer than 30 minutes. And then you had to come home. And everyone around me, my parents included, were like, there's no way you're going to be able to go in a month. Nothing has changed. The situation, in fact, is getting worse. And in fact, I couldn't even travel to Spain at all because there was restrictions. You couldn't fly into any country, especially Spain at that time, unless you were a resident. So the entire time I was in a state of stress and anger and anxiety, and I was really mad that nothing was working out. In fact, it was getting worse. But at this workshop of hers, she was like, set a wish, a projection. And from there, let's see. So I set a projection a month ahead. And 5 days before 14th of February, which was the 9th of February, I was at dinner with my parents and my brother's friend, and they were all asking me, it's like, so when do you plan to go back to Spain, to Barcelona? And I said, on the 14th of February, I will be leaving. And my parents turned to me and they're like, Simran, the bans haven't been lifted. There's still restrictions. You can't go anywhere. And at that time, I remember I went into a very deep meditative state. Instead of reacting from a place of fear or anger and thinking, oh, you're so stupid, I'm definitely going to go. Instead of that, I just went into a state of deep meditation. And it wasn't like a few seconds. It was like a split second. And I went into this state and I said, and I felt that, no, I will be there. I will be in Barcelona in 5 days on the 14th of February, without a doubt. And they were all saying, oh, it's impossible. It's in 5 days. Nothing has changed. So that night, I finished my meditations and we were home. And at midnight, I get an email from Skyscanner. This is where you can buy your flights. And there was like an email alert. And it said, flights to Spain have been opened for Singaporeans. Not for anyone else, but for Singaporeans. And I was in complete shock. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this a joke? So I went on the official website. And then I went on the official Spanish website, the government website. And it said, yes, you can now, Singaporeans can fly without any testing, nothing. You just need your Singaporean passport. And then I checked, I couldn't believe it still. So I checked the Singaporean website in relation to traveling to Spain. And they said, yes, you can travel. I still couldn't believe it. I was like, there's just no possible way that the government has opened restrictions specifically for Singaporeans only. For 5 days before my projection. And then I called Singapore Airlines because they will check all your visas when you are boarding. And I called Singapore Airlines and I said, is this true? Can I actually fly as a Singaporean? What tests do I need? What papers do I require? Do I need to be a resident? They said, no, you just need your Singaporean passport. That's it. So the next day, on the 10th of February, I booked a flight to Barcelona. And I booked it for the 11th. And I ended up arriving in Barcelona on the 11th of February. Not 14th, but the 11th. So 3 days before my projection. And my entire family was completely stunned. 1 second. My entire family was shocked. They couldn't believe it. And then I went to my teacher and I asked her about this and I told her about this projection. And she said, yes, now whatever projection you do, whatever you say, it will start to work very fast and it will happen for you if you have really good focus and you continue to do these meditations I selected for you. And she said, okay, now don't miss any of my classes and I will teach you how to make all of your wishes come true. So I did exactly as she said. And when I did finally arrive on the 11th of February, and I finally arrived, I got to see my partner after 11 months, I was in tears essentially. And I arrived into our apartment and I was just so happy. And I decided that I would move here in the next 3 months. I would get a long-term visa. Whatever it is, I'm going to move here. And I knew my parents couldn't help me at this time. And I didn't want to rely on my partner either. So I thought, how can I do it? What can I do to move here? And I decided this time when I finally arrived after 11 months of not being able to see my partner that it wasn't enough to just say it would be nice to live there. It wasn't enough to just wish moving to Spain. That I really, in the next 3 months, I would have to do everything in my power to be able to find a solution and move to Spain. And within 1 week, not in 3 months, but in 1 week, I found a solution to it. A solution nobody thought was possible. In fact, I told my partner about it and he's like, that's not going to work out. That seems really far-fetched. I don't think that's actually real. That's going to work. And I ended up confirming it with I got a lawyer. I confirmed it with the lawyer. They said, yes, this will work. And in the first week, I found a solution. And I was able to make my papers, get all the documents I needed within 1 month, and including being able to earn the money to pay for all the documents, to pay for my move, everything in the next 2 months. So I ended up moving to Spain, and this is how my wish came true. The most important thing I learned during COVID, and I'm going to turn, it's getting dark here. The most important thing I learned during COVID is that you can wish and you can plan, you can have the idea, and you can just say it's a should. But until you don't decide that it's important, that I need this, nothing will change in your life. And it was true. For 3 years, I was in a long-term relationship with my partner, moving back and forth, back and forth. There was no resolution. There was nothing that was permanent. Incredibly stressful. And the entire time, even though I was already meditating, I was already learning from my teacher, the entire time I was like, oh, there's no opportunity. Nothing is changing. I'm trying. I already have this wish. I already want it. What else do I need? What else can I do? There's nothing I can do. So I was complaining and I was whining and I was doing the bare minimum. And really, I was taking no action to make it a possibility, because for me, the concept, the idea that I would actually be able to have the money, have the means to move to Spain seemed impossible. I didn't believe it at all. I didn't think I would actually be able to do this. I didn't think I would be actually able to do this by myself, without my parents, without my partner, without some miracle coming and falling into my lap and giving me all the answers, solution, money, the means, everything. To me, the idea that I myself could do something so great, so impossible, so big, no. How can I do this? It's impossible. I don't have any clients right now. I barely have any clients from teaching yoga, and I'm still doing my part-time job, and it's not paying me enough to pay more than my flight and maybe, for the first couple weeks living in Spain, and then that's it. I have to go back and restart and do another job again. How will I do this? Do you have this? You think about your goals, you think about your wish. It would be nice to increase my income, to double my pay. It would be nice if I started my own thing, found my passions in life. And really what I was looking for many years was someone to save me and someone to come and kick my ass and motivate me and really push me out of my comfort zone and give me the way. And I realized after 3 years, nothing was changing. Nothing was changing at all. So when I finally had 11 months of not being able to see my partner and being miserable about it, I decided I don't give a shit. Fuck it. I will do everything I can to move to Spain. Whatever it is, to finally be able to live with my partner, not on and off, but consistently, so that 6 months can go by, 9 months can go by, 5 years can go by, and we're living together. And I don't have this stress that I have to go back next month. I have to go back next week. I can't afford to stay here anymore. So for me, the first important lesson with prosperity is that if you have a wish, it cannot just be, it would be nice to have it. It would be nice if I started my own business. It would be nice if somebody start to give me an opportunity. It would be nice. But in fact, I had to understand that it would be nice is not enough, and it's not going to change anything, no matter how many meditations you do. Do you understand? You can meditate, you can dream, you can wish, nothing will change. And I'll give a really good example, because for me it was very short relatively. 3 years of suffering is very short relatively, honestly. I was saying, maybe in 4 or 5 years, in 10 years, things will change, right? Maybe it's just starting slow. This is why nothing is happening or is going very slow. So for me, in that terms, if we think about it, 3 years, not too bad. I can suffer for 3 years and hope for change to happen. But then I looked back at my parents' life. And for them as well, they always had really big plans for their businesses, for the kind of place they would want to be able to buy, for their projection of how big their company would grow. And again, I saw the same pattern where they said, yeah, it would be nice if we could afford to do this. It would be nice if we could finally have the funds to expand our business. It would be nice if we can finally find a house and exactly what we want and pay the deposit and finally buy it, get it. And the entire time, nothing changed. It was very slow. And they were always waiting for things to happen, for somehow some things would work out, or finally this bill, this loan, this debt would be paid off. And then finally they can expand their business. Finally they can expand and save enough to afford the house or their apartment they wanted. And year after year, they would only be able to expand 1 or 2 people they would hire. That's it. They never expanded more than that in the first 5 years of their company, their second company that they were starting themselves. And the entire time, watching them do it, I always thought, yes, we're waiting for something to happen, for something to click. So finally they will save enough or have enough, or the time will be right. And none of it came. But there was one thing that really pushed them out of their comfort zone. It was when I was 10 years old, and they realized I was at an age where I could go and study at an international boarding school that was founded by the master of Kundalini Yoga. And so they asked me and my brother, he was 8 at the time, I was 10 years old, and they said, do you want to go to India and study at this international boarding school that was founded by the master of Kundalini Yoga? We both said yes. We were both in love with this idea, because since an early age they told us, the school was like Hogwarts. They had the prefect system, and we had all these practices. And from a very early age, I was already meditating, and I was very deeply connected to this teachings of Kundalini Yoga. From the year I was born, that was when my parents started to learn and practice Kundalini Yoga. By the time I was 5 years old, I was meditating 1 hour to 2 hours every single day. I was very deeply connected to this. So for me, it was, yes, I want to do this. But the catch was, it was $25,000 per child to go and attend the school. And they were nowhere close to being able to afford this. But when they asked us and they realized that, yes, I want to be able to send you guys to this school, because for them, it was incredibly important. It wasn't like, yes, it would be nice if we could afford to send our children to this school. It would be nice. This is the only thing, their entire lives really, they were like, this is most important thing. I want to be able to send my child to the most incredible school so that forever their life could be changed. They would have all the tools, all of the ability to take care of themselves, to be able to go through any obstacles, so that they would know who they are, what they wanted in life, and get it. Because this was the foundation of the school founded by the master of Kundalini Yoga. Every single day, yoga. Every single day, we would wake up 5 a.m. in the morning. We would do a special meditation, and then we would do 1 hour of PT. Then we would have breakfast. Then we would do 6 hours of school academics. Then we would have 1 hour of break to have lunch. Then we would have yoga. After yoga, we would have sports for 1 hour. After sports, we would have dinner. After dinner, we will go and have meditation night or extracurricular night, where we would either have to learn an instrument, sitar, harmonium, or the tabla. And so we had an insane schedule. And this is not even including everything else that we do, which we had martial arts, we had marching, so we had to learn like army, marching, signals and signs. We also had school and, not school, but competitions between houses, like in Harry Potter. We had extracurriculars. So our schedule from 5 in the morning, depending on the season, from 5 in the morning to 9 in the evening was completely packed and completely catered, so that every single day you're building on your physical body, every single day you're engaging your mental capacities, and really spiritually you're growing. Physically, every level there's growth and change and exhaustion. I don't think anybody could do the schedule now and survive. And I did this for 7 years. So when my parents saw this schedule and they knew about Yogi Bhajan, the master of Kundalini Yoga, and they knew they were practicing already, they decided that this was the most important thing they could give me and my brother. But they couldn't afford it. $25,000 each. And so 50,000 US dollars a year. And public schools in Singapore at that time was $5 a month. So the concept that they would go from having to pay $10 and then let's say paying for books and uniform $100 a month to $50,000 a year. That's a massive jump. They couldn't afford it, but they decided this was the most important thing. And that year, their business grew exponentially. And they were able to afford everything for our school. And they were able to afford $50,000 US dollars to send us both once a year. 50,000 once a year. And we went there for 7 years. And the entire time I realized, as they began to afford and grow their business and push themselves out of their comfort zone and do everything in their power to earn this money so they could send us there, I realized after all this that this is the only thing that was important to them. And so for them, they did everything in their power to afford this and send us there. And I realized, looking back now, they never found that same dedication, motivation, and love for themselves. They had it for us, so they sent us there, but they never had it towards themselves. So they were never able to fulfill their own deepest desires and their deepest wishes. And so they always put themselves last. They put us first. And it did not make them very happy people at all. Now, as I realized, I took their mindset, their dedication towards us, I began to learn it and I put it towards myself. Realized that this is the kind of level of motivation I need to move. And they began to grow their business to $20,000 a month from $2,000 to $20,000, and they did not hire anybody. This was just my mom and my dad running their business themselves from morning to night to be able to afford this, to be able to expand the business. And it was incredible to me to be able to see that kind of change. And they were doing this in 2006, 2007, 2008. And their business, it wasn't like online business where you can just, you have exponential growth and you have millions of people at a touch of a button. They had to go work with companies, they had to negotiate contracts, and then they would have to do this work, very physical labor work. And they were able to reach their target and grow their business very quickly, because to them, they realized that this was really important. So I need to do this. It wasn't like, for them, talking back when I would talk to them and ask them, what really made you do this? They realized that they didn't want to send us to public school. And even the international schools in Singapore didn't give even 1/10 of the value that we would learn at this school. of Midipidi Academy, which was founded by the master of Kundalini Yoga. And they realized that their entire lives, they never really knew who they are, what they wanted, and they lived their lives according to what society dictated for them. And this doesn't just close you up in relationships or in your family life in terms of what you can do in your home or in your society, but it closes you up as well in prosperity, in happiness, in self-realization, in fulfillment, because it all comes back. It's all related. Prosperity is not just where one day it's not disconnected from anything else in life. When there's an imbalance in your health, it will impact your money, your prosperity. If there is an imbalance in your self-esteem, you have low self-esteem, low self-confidence, it will show up with your prosperity. If you don't believe you can change your life, absolutely nothing will change in your life. If you think you are stuck, that there's no way in hell that your family, anyone will support you, no one will support you. And I realized this as I began to learn from my teacher, that nobody was stopping me from making anything happen. Only me. Only I was limiting myself. And when I saw my parents really make this big shift, I realized that in my life, this was the most important as well, most important lesson I could have learned, that if it's important to you, you will make it happen. And I realized that this was the kind of motivation and mindset I had to have for my wishes. And for me, honestly, it was very hard to think about, oh, it would be nice to move to Spain. It would be nice to have my own business, to start my online business, to do live streams and write posts and get clients and talk about my prices. It would be nice if I could stand up to people and I wouldn't get stressed out by little things. It was just a really, it would be nice. I dreamt about it. I wished it. And nothing changed until, for the first time, I decided to start investing in my teacher's classes and in the Master of Kundalini Yoga's classes. Master of Sanamar Sign. Sanamar Sign is a healing modality that comes from the same lineage and the same masters of Kundalini Yoga. But here we do only healing. We don't do meditations or nothing. We heal here. So I remember when I began to learn about the Master of Sanamar Sign, what he could do, I realized, wow, it would be incredible if I could learn from him. So I made a projection. I made a wish that he would start teaching online. And in the last, I think, 40 years, he had never taught anything online. Even when online classes became a thing, he didn't teach it. But I had a wish because all of his classes were happening in Europe or Mexico or the US. And I was like, please, God, please, I want him to start teaching online so I can finally go. So for the first time, after I made this projection, in 1 month, I saw an announcement from his organizers that, yes, he's teaching online. And I saw the price and my heart dropped. It was 100 euros. And I was like, oh my God, I can't afford this. What am I going to do? 100 euros for a 2-hour class. And I went to my parents. They're like, Harsimran, we can't afford this right now. We're putting all of our money into our business, so please don't ask us. We can't pay for this. And at that time, I wasn't working, and I just had this online yoga business I had just started. So it wasn't making a lot of money yet. It was just something new, and it was just like the beginning. And for me, it was terrifying as well to run my online business. It was like, I have to show my face. I have to talk about my life. I have to share things that in my life are very private things. And I have to talk about Kundalini Yoga. And I have never taught professionally and get paying clients before. I've never had paying clients before. So for me, every step of the way was terrifying. Starting this business is like, oh my God, I can't do this. It's impossible. And every single day I struggled with it. It was horrible for me. And then I saw the Master of Sun Science workshop, 2-hour workshop for 100 euros. And I decided I had to go. I was like, this is important to me. I was like, he was very old already at this time. And I knew he had been hospitalized multiple times because he works with thousands of people. And he takes all of their karma, all of their sicknesses, all of their health problems onto himself. This is incredibly powerful healing. And he was very, very sick, and he had died on the hospital table multiple times. And I realized when he finally did this online class for the first time that I can keep waiting until my business takes off. I can keep waiting until I find a part-time job in Singapore, or I can keep waiting that someone else will come and give me money to make it happen. But then I'll miss out. I'll miss out completely because I don't know how many years he has left until he passes. How many years before I can never learn from him. And so for me, I took it as a motivation that I needed to go now. I don't care that I don't have the money, but what can I do now to grow my business? So every single day, first thing in the morning, I would straight away meditate, and then straight away I would go and start talking about myself, talking about yoga. And I would reach out to everyone, including my own friends, including staff members and teachers that took care of me when I was at Miripiri Academy, the yoga academy. So I began to reach out and do everything in my power to get clients, to make money so I could pay this 100 euros and go. And I was only charging 10 euros a class, so I knew I needed at least 10 people, and I needed to at least create a program, something to make 100 euros and afford this. And I couldn't find any part-time jobs at Singapore that I wanted to do anymore. So it was just this. I had this. And every single day I began to pour my heart into this business. And I felt this was the most important. And in 2 weeks, I earned the 100 euros. And I went and I got the money and I paid for this workshop. It was like, I had the money, immediately it was gone. I didn't save a single penny. For me, I was just like, no, I need to go here. This was the most important. I don't care about saving at this time. So immediately I made the money and I paid for it. I went for this workshop and it was incredible. And I felt finally I did something. And you know what happened after this workshop? I realized the entire time I was doing my business, I was doing everything, I was doing very slowly. And I was always focusing and giving all of my energy onto what I was terrified to do. Everything that made me anxious, everything I didn't like. I didn't like using social media. I didn't like doing stories or posts. And I was putting all of my energy into something where I was really afraid to do it. So I did everything from a place of fear. Oh my God, it would be terrifying to write this. What if people say something negative? And so all of my fear, every time I would write something, I would do something, was always from a place of fear. And only when I had this focus of, I want to go for this seminar, this workshop, that I realized after doing it that my focus left from, it's so terrifying, it's so hard for me, I can't do it, that I put my energy and my focus into, this is important to me. This is what I want. This is my biggest wish. I'll never have it again. I must do everything in my life to move to get it. And after I did this workshop with the Master of Sun Messiah, it was as if something completely, this anxiety-filled state, it wasn't that it left, but it was like as if it went to the background, and I was now able to focus on, okay, I need to start earning more now so that next time he has a workshop again, I can pay for it. And in 3 weeks, he did another class. So again, my focus went into, this is really important. I really need this. It's not like, it would be nice. I should go for it. It would be nice if I grew my business. Oh, it would be nice. All from a place of fear and really I can't do anything, I'm so small. Instead, I put my focus and my energy into, I am going, that's it. I don't care that my parents can't pay for it. I don't care that I don't have any savings. I don't care that I don't have any job. What can I do now to earn money? What can I do now? So again, I did everything I could, and I began to love writing posts, because I was like, I need to share everything from a place of love and joy, and really talk about everything good that has happened to me from it. And so as I did that, I began to get clients, people began to recognize me. And then the second month that I went for the workshop with the Master of Sun and Sign, a few days after, a yoga studio reached out to me, and they said, they offered me to teach in their studio, a yoga studio from New York. They're like, would you like to teach for us? And of course, we will advertise and we will pay you a percentage. And at first I thought, wow, a miracle has happened. Like out of nowhere, somebody has come and given me an opportunity. And when I looked back at it, I realized the only reason they reached out to me is because every single day I was pouring my heart into writing and making posts and stories and doing live streams, giving meditations, sharing all the good that has happened to me. And because they were watching and reading every single day what I was doing, that they reached out and offered me a place to work at their studio. And from this studio, I have worked with them 40, 50 times, probably more. And I've earned 20,000 euros from this studio. From what? Just writing posts, writing little things, doing the simplest step. But it all began from first, when I was completely in a state of desperation, because I hated being away from my partner. I hated being away from him. I hated that I couldn't see him for 11 months. And I decided that it was enough. It was enough going back and forth and just hoping and wishing that life will change, that somehow something will happen and I can move to Spain. I decided I will do everything in my power to move to Spain. And immediately the universe responded by giving me all of the opportunities. And on top of that, through the meditations, through the highest yoga of Kundalini Yoga that I'm teaching you now, that I learned first myself, through that I was able to face my fears, remove my sicknesses, my illnesses, and change my subconscious projection. So I recognize that everything I do will have a result. And as I began to make it a priority, it is important that I earn money. It's important that I grow my business. It's important that I go to this workshop. It's important that I start my business. It's important that I reach out to clients and tell them this workshop is happening and invite them. As long as I began to make it a importance, a priority, and I removed my fears, it would always result in a successful outcome every single time. And from there, because I took those first steps, now I have the business that I want, I have the income that I want, I have the relationship that I want. I get to live in Spain completely independent of everyone, by myself. This is the power of the highest yoga. It's not a cheap thing where you're just waiting for things to happen. And I emphasize this with every client who comes to me for prosperity, is we are not waiting for changes. We are not waiting for God or universe to give it to us. We are demanding very powerfully, very precisely. We're saying, you must give me what I want, because I am doing everything to show you and to put out there into the world that this is what I'm asking for. This is the standard I will live by, nothing less. And honestly, couldn't have started if I wasn't in the state of desperation first of like, I need to live with my partner. I'm so sick and tired for 3 years having a long-term relationship, a long-distance relationship, going back and forth. It was incredibly stressful and not at all what I wanted. And so from there, I began to realize that this is how I need to build my life. And I trained after that. I made a projection that my teacher would teach prosperity the way she learned from the Master of Sun and Messiah. And in 1 week, she announced, after I made this wish and projection, in 1 week, she announced that I'm doing a prosperity teacher training. I will teach you the way the Master Sun and Messiah taught me, and I will show you how to teach people prosperity, and you will learn for yourself. So I did the teacher training with her, which was 600 euros at the time. I didn't have the money at the beginning, but I said, I need to earn the money to do this. That's it. If it is a priority to you, it's not just a wish. And then you go through the cleansing of your subconscious, you remove your fears, you begin to activate your brain, the superpowers of your brain. This is what I'm teaching, and I'm going to be showing you in my upcoming prosperity workshop. Everything will start to happen for you. And moreover, I will not let you sit on your ass and pray for things to happen. I will show you precisely. You have a goal, 5,000 euros, 10,000 euros. How do you make that happen? I want to move to Spain. I want to move to Switzerland. I want to be able to have my own business. How do I do that? I will show you this. I will show you precisely how to do this. This is how I've been working. I learned it for myself. Then I began to teach it to my clients. I began to show my clients who already had an existing business or already had their dream job, how to make more out of it, how to get more opportunities, how to grow their income more and more and more. And each time I've been able to show my clients, after a single consultation, a client came to me and she's like, I haven't been able to make any sales for the past few months in my business at all. I'm horribly stressed because I'm eating through my savings. I have nothing right now. And in one consultation, I told her what to do, what practices she needed to do, what she needed to focus on. And in 1 day, she earned $900 US. And she paid 150 euros at that time for my session. So she earned 6 times back, not in 1 week, not in 1 month, not in 5 years, in 1 day. Myself, I went to my teacher and I said, I'm having a really hard time getting clients the last 2 months. And she said, you need to work with throat chakra. Open your throat chakra and do this meditation. She gave me a specific meditation. And she said, okay, now you need to do this task. And she gives very also practical tasks on prosperity because she went to a business school, the best business school in Moscow, and she learned under the Master Sun and Messiah as well for 25 years. And herself, she grew from 0 to 2,000 euros a month to 100,000 euros a month teaching yoga, healing people, 100,000 euros a month. And so she began to teach everyone, and she began to get huge amounts of clients from every walk of life. And she began to show people how to earn money. So when she gave me a very practical task, told me, do this meditation, open your throat chakra. In 3 days, I earned 3,000 euros. From having a hard time, I couldn't even earn 100 euros. And I was like, it's so hard to earn money. I can't do anything. I'm so stuck. And she's like, no, you just need to do this, change this, and do this task. Okay, go. And in 3 days, I earned 3,000 euros, and I was in a state of shock. And I realized from there, I continued to invest in my learning and training with her so that every time people came to me for prosperity problems, health problems, I can always be able to see from a very deep meditative state, what is the main block? What do they need to do now to create change, to create prosperity, to heal themselves now? And I have had clients who came to me who've had chronic health issues, seizures. I had a client who came to me who had seizures for, I think she was saying around 10, 15 years. And she came to me for healing sessions and also to work with prosperity, by the way. And she came to me, and for 2 years, before, right around COVID, she was left off. She was dropped off from her company. And for 2 years, she was sending all of her resumes and trying to set up interviews. She got no results. And she heard about me, began to read my posts, and then she reached out to me. And I said, yes, I can work with this blog. You want to get a job? We can do that. And she came to me, and in 2 weeks, I told her where her main blocks were. We began to work with her brain. We began to remove her fears, and she began to send out. Also, we began to set a projection, a proper, precise projection, because not all projections will come true. And I taught her how to set a projection. And within 2 weeks, she got an interview for the first time in 2 years. A company wrote back to her, and it was her dream job and her dream company. Not just any company, not just any job, but it was her dream job, her dream company. They wrote back to her. She went to the interview, and she got the job, and she got it right away, by the way. And on top of that, she negotiated a higher salary for herself. And she came back, and we did another class, and she said, you know, I never would have negotiated a higher salary for myself because I haven't had a job for the last 2 years. And I would have been so terrified to ask for my value and ask for the precise projects that I want to do because I haven't had any income, active income for the last 2 years. And because she did this class with me and she removed her fears, we worked with creating a projection and healing her brain. She knew precisely what she had to ask for. And she got the higher salary and she got the job, and she started in 1 week. And since then, she has never stopped working with me on any topic. And what I do is very precise. The meditations we do, we heal our entire body, we heal our entire physiology, we heal our nervous system, then we heal our emotional, mental stress as well. All of the mental pressure, all of the emotional stress that we've been under since early childhood, we remove and heal that. And we also work with our deepest subconscious and karmic blocks. Certain blocks that we've had for many, many years that we've never been able to get out of. We've never been able to change. For example, when I also wanted to start working with prosperity, it was very hard for me to get clients to earn money. Even when I was doing everything I was putting into it. And I told my teacher this, and she said, you need to go for a healing session, a Sun Earth Sign healing session. When you remove the main subconscious tendency, that's when things can change and open up. And it's very, very deep. It's so deep ingrained in us that it can't just be removed through positive affirmations or just setting goals or having a vision board. None of that will change your life at all. It's nice. It might give you clarity, and just for a few days, a few weeks, you look at it and you're like, this is what I want. This is really nice. But then how do we move past our fears? How do we move past the brain fatigue, the chronic illnesses, the pressure that we've been put under since early childhood by everyone around us? And how do we know that the choices I'm making that I feel is important or are good, that's the best? How do we know this? How can I trust my intuition? How can I trust that this is the path I need to take? I would always lean on everyone around me, my parents, my brother, my friends, my caretakers, other yoga teachers, other healers, other spiritual guides. And I would always lean on them. Tell me what is best. Should I do this? What is best for me? Who am I? What do I need? With my teacher, she was the only one. She would never tell me anything. She would just say, do this meditation, come to my class and work on this topic. And immediately I would realize, and this is the most important aspect of the highest yoga, is that you do not need to lean or ask anyone for solutions, for help, or to tell you who you are or how to make money. All of this resides within us. If you unlock your superpowers, you expand your meditative state, it gives you answers to everything you want in life. And more importantly, it gives you the power, the energy, and the courage to take a step. It's not that we become completely fearless out of the hat right away, but it gives you courage to face your problems. It gives you courage to go after your dreams and not to just wait for it to happen. Of course, you can keep waiting. Now you have a wish. You're like, I want to grow my income. I would like to start a business. And 1 year can go by, 2 years can go by, and I don't think anything will change. Or you will only reach the bare minimum of it. This is my experience. This is my experience working with hundreds of people on prosperity. This is my teacher's experience working with hundreds and thousands of people. This is the experience of the master of Kundalini Yoga working with millions of people. Nothing changes until you decide that it's important, until you begin to very actively, concretely take a step. It's like saying, I want to lose weight, and then you do nothing. You don't exercise, you don't change your diet, you don't do anything to change it. You just say, please God, wait, why am I not losing weight? Why am I still so overweight? How is anything going to change? It can't change until you very physically, mentally, emotionally change. And prosperity, you need every layer needs to be cleansed. Because when you start to work with prosperity, let's take a goal. I want to start my own business. Okay, what do we need for that? Sometimes we need to invest money into that. So how can I get this money? What steps do we need to take? Okay, I need to start working more at this current job, work overtime to earn this, or I need to start selling this, or I can open a small little thing. I can go and join a different company, a different thing, and sell for just a few days or a few months to gather the money so I can invest into my own business. So this is step 1. Step 2, as you begin to do this, as you start to think about it, what happens? We lose energy, we lose motivation, or we are already exhausted. This is very true. We're already exhausted. We're already overloaded from everything we have to do now. So we can't even move past this stage of exhaustion, of brain fatigue, of being already limited on time. So how can we go back to just step 1? We can't. So then we have these 2 layers that come up. Step 3, you have this wish, you want to start your business, you know what you want to do, and your goal may be fairly simple to reach at this time. Let's say 1,000 euros, convert it into your currency. So 1,000 euros at my new business, let's say in the next 3 months, I want to reach this target, or in this next 6 months. But then the fear starts to set in. Every single day you have to take actions. You need to talk to people. You need to set up contracts. You need to hire people. You need to go and talk to the manufacturers. And then the fear starts to set in. You start to lose motivation. Or you don't even have the idea that this is what I should do to start this business, to start moving it. And then another layer starts to set in, where it's like, I already have loans, I already have debt, I don't have any time, any energy, any means to go look for another job, and then why would I want to start a new business when I can pay off my loans? So we don't even get to the point where we can start the new business. We don't even give ourselves the opportunity to start the new business and allow it to grow, allow it to become prosperous. True? Do you see this? Do you recognize this yourself? There are always, 100%, there's always obstacles. Right now already, you think about, I need 200 euros, I need 500 euros, I need 1,000 euros for a dress, for a workshop, to travel, for a spa day, to finally get this membership I've been wanting to do. And immediately it's just like you give up on it. I can't do it. It's so hard. I have to do so much. I can't afford this. It would be better if I go and spend this money on something else. What a waste of money. I don't need to buy diamond earrings. I don't need to go to the spa. I don't really need this workshop. I don't need to heal myself. I can wait. Things will get better. And look back at yourself now. Look a year behind, 5 years behind. Think about your wishes and your goals. Has anything changed? Honestly, be honest to yourself. Has anything changed as you continue to wait? As you continue to hope? Or as you continue to forsake your own wishes, your own desires? Has anything changed? And not just changed, but has anything happened in terms of the goals and your wishes that you've been wanting, that you've been planning, that you dream of, and you think it would be nice to have? No. It hasn't. I look back at myself and it's a very painful realization to have. Nothing has changed, and that's true. I haven't gotten to any of my wishes. When I would think about this in the past, it would make me more anxious and more depressed. But then, thankfully, my goodness, I thank myself, I thank the universe, and I thank everything that has led me to my teacher. Because it's true, I would get depressed, I would get anxious about the fact that nothing has changed. I've not been able to reach my goals. I've not been able to afford the dress that I always wanted. I've not been able to move to Spain. And then all of that anxiety, all of that anger, depression, and regret would set in. And then I would have these practices, the highest yoga of meditations and practices and healing, and they would remove that pain, heal that pain. And in return, I would have confidence, I would have forgiveness, I would have love, and I would have focus and clarity and energy to move past it and to finally start taking a step. Finally, I take a step. Finally, I move forward and I get what I want. Right now is the best time to work with prosperity. Right now is the best time. I will have a workshop in 2 weeks, maybe less, 2 weeks. And we are going to work on prosperity. We're going to work on all the layers that block prosperity. Fears, our energy, our brain, and our nervous system, and our projection, our image of self, our heart center, pain of the past, regret, all of our failures in the past that still weigh on us. We're going to heal and remove all of this. And on top of that, we're going to work with creating projections, setting up goals, and everything. I'm going to teach you how to do it precisely and correctly so you reach a result. So you don't have to wait for things to happen. They will start to happen because your actions, everything will change. The way you see yourself, the way you see your business, the way you see your steps, everything will change. And you will see it on a very intuitive and the highest level. For me, this is one of the most interesting things because every time I set up a goal or wish or any projections and goals with work, it's really interesting to me that I always do things very differently from everyone else. But I always get a result because I learned how to listen to myself, listen to my intuition, and to remove my fears and my blocks so that I can really trust it and go forward with it. And my mother would always say, I remember my mother would always be jealous because she said, I always had this projection and it really became true as I continue to walk with the highest yoga, is that the entire universe wants to take care of me. Everyone wants to take care of me. Everyone wants to give me everything. And my mother and my father, their own experience have told them that that's not true. People, even your own family, don't want to give you everything. They don't want to take care of you. They don't want to support you. They have their own problems to take care of. But from an early age, because they exposed me to Kundalini Yoga at an early age, and also they sent me for 7 years to a international boarding school that was founded by the master of Kundalini Yoga, and he created the entire schedule, everything. From an early age, because of this, I always had a very deep meditative sense where I felt that, and I believe that the entire universe wants to give me their support and all the resources. And from an early age, random people would give me things. They would support me. They would reach out and just give me something. My own neighbors, my mother was saying, I have a neighbor, a Muslim neighbor of mine in Singapore. And in general, we're not very friendly with neighbors. I mean, it's just your neighbors. You say hi, bye, but you don't talk to them, nothing. But out of nowhere, this neighbor and I began to talk, and she's an old grandma. She was, I think, in her 70s. And she began to talk to me. We began to reach out. And immediately she was like, you are like my granddaughter. You know what? She started to tell me her life story. And she was a professional chef. She worked at 5-star hotels. And then she's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create my favorite foods and I'm going to give it to you. And the next day she came over and she brought me this entire feast. And she took into my own, my considerations that I'm a vegetarian. She's not a vegetarian, but she cooked everything vegetarian, most beautiful, delicious dishes. Honestly, till this day, I always tell my partner about these dishes. And I say, when we go to Singapore, I will ask her to cook for us. And she came, she brought me this entire feast. And my mother, after she left, she's like, wow, we've been living here for 4 years and never once has she talked to us other than hi and bye. And she's never brought us anything. And immediately she sees you, talks to you, and she gives you food. She makes you food from scratch, vegetarian food. And I said, I don't know why. I said, because the entire universe loves me. They want to support me. They want to give me everything. And again, I will tell you a few stories again of mine and how I created this projection of mine as well. Out of nowhere, I was on a bus, in a public bus in Singapore, and I was coming back from work, and I had one of the worst days, and I really was incredibly depressed and anxious, and I was just so done with my work. I decided I never want to go to work again, nothing. And I was feeling so depressed, and out of nowhere, I was in this public bus, and there was an old man there, and he was sitting a few seats away from me, and I could smell the fruits he was carrying, which was durian. I don't know if you know this fruit. It's an exotic fruit and has a very strong smell. And legally, you're not allowed to have this in a public bus or train or in cabs as well, because the smell is so strong and some people don't like the smell. So legally in Singapore, you cannot have this fruit on the bus. But nobody said anything, but he noticed that I was sniffing the air and I was looking at him, and I could see like the bags of food the fruit he had. And he was like, oh, hello, do you smell it? I said, yes. It's like, I'm so sorry. I had to bring it because my car broke down, so I couldn't bring it. So I just had to bring it on the bus and go. And I only have a few more stops. I'm so sorry. The old man was so kind, so polite. And immediately I said, no, I love this smell. This is incredible. This is one of my favorite foods. And so this is an 80, 90-year-old man. He was very, very old looking. And it was me. And he was a Chinese old man, old grandpa. And we're sitting quite, not near to each other, but not far either. And we're like talking, so the entire bus goes quiet and they're listening to us converse about this fruit. And I'm just sharing about how much I love this fruit, and yeah, I haven't had it in a long time, and it's like, yes, it's incredible. And he started to share that he was buying this for his grandkids and everything. And he's like, you know what, I'm getting off the next stop, please have some. And I was like, what are you, no, please, no, thank you. This fruit is very, very expensive, by the way. Like, you can get one durian for $100-$200. It's very, very expensive. And he was giving me like a few packets of it. I think he was giving me 3 or 4 packets. So at least 80, 100 euros, $100 worth, around 60, 80 euros worth. And I was like, no. He's like, no, please. You have made my day, telling me how much you love this fruit and just talking to me, really. You're so kind and so polite. Please have this. And he gave me this fruit. I took it. And by the way, it was the most delicious durian I had ever had. I loved it so much. And again, my parents are like, how did you get this? Just by talking to him. And as I continue to meditate, when I began to learn prosperity and from my teacher, I realized that whatever projection you have for yourself, the way you look at yourself is also the way you will present yourself to the world. And from there, you will attract the kind of people that will resonate with this state. If you feel that nobody loves you, nobody will take care of you, that people are out to get you, for sure, you will find clients, you will find employers, companies that really will want to exploit you or where you're unhappy. But if your own projection of self, if you yourself believe that you deserve the best, that you want the best, that the entire universe, there are people, millions of people out there, that there are people out there that will connect with you, that will love you, that will want to be with you, talk with you, learn from you, be in business with you, you will find it. And this is why, again, I love these practices, and I always work on my self-esteem. I always work on my projection of self, and I have to create on a daily basis, I create a state where I love myself, I heal myself, I forgive myself, and I take care of myself actively, consciously, every way possible. Sometimes in the laziest way possible. But anyways, I do it because I want the entire universe to respond to this. Not to the little world where I'm insecure and nobody loves me, nobody understands me, and it's so hard to get clients and all the companies are bad, the economy is bad. No, I never had this projection. And whenever I go into this state, for sure I can't make money. For sure it's incredibly hard. And then I do my meditations and immediately my state changes, my brain adjusts, I am expanded, and the entire universe responds. Till this day, I think 50% of my clients have come to me through referrals. They have come to me through referrals. 1 second. Till this day, 50% of my clients have come to me from referrals. Because one of my first projections as well is that I want to study and learn this healing art, and so that even if I only have one client this month, I want to give the best. I want to heal them so much that they will begin to share it with their friends and their family and whoever they talk to. And from there, it will grow. And this is the way my business will grow. It doesn't matter that I only have one client a month. It doesn't matter that I only have 2 clients a month. But I will give my best. It doesn't matter. I will do my best. I will learn my best. I will train under the master. I will train under my teacher, who is a renowned healer and teacher, known for being the prosperity queen. And I will learn and invest the best so that when clients come to me, I can instantly solve their problems. I can instantly help them. And so this is how I began to grow my business, because every single client that came to me would get results. They would heal. They would get their dream job. They would be able to grow their business. From there, they began to invite and share with everyone they know. And every client that I have that has a husband, every female client I have that has a husband or boyfriend or partner, every single time, their partners will come and sign up for a consultation or healing or something with me as well, because they will see the results from their wife and they're like, oh my God, that's incredible, because they will see that they started from zero or they were able to increase their income. So this was one of the most interesting thing I did, is in myself I began to learn. Nobody taught me this, but I learned it myself, and then I was reaffirmed when I learned from the Master of Sun and Messiah, from my teacher, and also from my partner as well, who also studied under the master for 15 years. He learned firsthand from him. So I began to learn that your projection of self, the way you take care of yourself, if you can change that, you can heal that, you're already 70% on the way to becoming prosperous. This is why we have specific topics that I work with in my prosperity workshop. Work with our fears, work with projection of self, work with removing past pains and all of our failures that sit in the body. And from there, it becomes very easy. You gain super clarity and energy and a very, almost like an otherworldly space and understanding of self that's not limited to your circumstances now. This is really important. If right now your circumstances say that you can't go for a workshop, you can't leave the country, you can't start your own business because of the economy, because you don't have the means, you have to essentially forget about it at the moment, do whatever you can to invest and come for the workshop, learn how to heal yourself. From there, you will be able to understand how to get out of your circumstances. Because circumstances do not change. Right now you have one problem, tomorrow you'll have another problem. A year from now you have another problem. 5 years from now you have another problem. It will not change. Problems do not leave. Never. They will always be present. But the only thing that can change, the only thing that will give way is how you decide to go forward now. Either you do everything you can to focus your energy on moving past or solving the solution and then growing your own prosperity ideas and goals and wishes, or you just stay stuck. It's one or the other. There is no middle ground with prosperity. This is really important to understand. When we begin to work with prosperity, everything is going. All of your health is going to be moving. It's the same projection. There's no disconnection at all. This is why we always work with our health, our energy levels, our state of mind, our mental health, our projections, and then we are healing our subconscious. We're healing our karmic blocks. We're healing and balancing our chakras so that everything comes into harmony and it becomes very easy to create prosperity in life. Right now, we have 2 days left to go and sign up for my prosperity workshop at the early bird price. Only 2 days, and then the price will increase. And then we will go and create the workshop. We will start very, very soon. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. But this is going to be the most important workshop for you, to walk with prosperity, to change your life now. And very, very importantly, we will work with prosperity and money. I will show you how to create an income, how to increase your income. Because this is one of my specialties. This is one of the things I specialized in training under my teacher and the Master of Sun and Messiah, to understand how can we change our luck, our karma, our subconscious, our life, so that we create prosperity in our life. And this is going to be the easiest workshop, the easiest offering I have to invest in and to join and to go for it. The workshop will be online. There will be 4 workshops, 4 seminars. We will have two 2-hour seminars once a week. Once a week, that's it, 2 hours. And we will go through all of the layers, all of the blocks that keep you from achieving and making your wishes come true. Go to my bio page now. There will be a link and it will redirect you to my website. Sign up for my workshop. It's called Unlocking the Prosperity of the Universe. And right there, after you sign up, immediately things will start to change. You understand? We will change very quickly. You will be able to reach your goals very, very quickly. This is the most important thing right now you can invest in. So go and sign up. We will have people from all around the world. I always have people from China, the US, the UK, Spain, Germany, Iceland, India, Malaysia. God, I can't remember now. Actually, even clients from Africa, Sudan, and Korea. Oh my God, it's incredible. People from all around the world join. And it's life-changing. So go sign up now. Sign up at the early bird price so you don't complain, oh, it's so expensive, I didn't do it. And then you'll be crying about it and you have to pay more. So go sign up now while it's still at the early bird price and you can really lock in this price. Thank you so much for joining me. Please let me know if you did this live stream. Write a comment, a review. Let me know what you thought and felt about this. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Go sign up now. I'm looking forward and waiting for you to join. And I will begin to show you how to create prosperity very quickly. Whether in income, in job opportunity, or where you need to focus so you can really become prosperous, happy, and fulfilled. Thank you so much again. Have a wonderful day. And I hope you enjoyed all of our marathon days. If you missed any day, go and do it on the recording. Every single day I've taught and shared something really powerful and healing. So it's really, really important to go start now and do all those classes because they're really, really powerful and insightful. And then you have this entire week leading up to it to do it. Next week, I'm planning to do another live stream and I will do more at that time a meditation base on prosperity. So it will be less talking, more meditations. But now go and listen. So you have a lot more insight towards prosperity. It's really, really powerful stuff. And you will not be able to find this anywhere. Everything I've learned from my teacher, I've never heard anyone else talk about it. But it has helped her and hundreds and thousands of her clients, including me, grow my income and make my wishes come true. Really, I started from zero. I couldn't even earn 50 euros. It was so painful for me. And then I was able to grow it to a few hundred, then 2,000, 5,000, and it kept growing. And I began to get clients and opportunities from all around the world. It's incredible. And this is what I'm going to teach you as well, because we're not limited. And it was very strange for me to actually see that I'm not limited. Coming from an Indian family and just so many different things that were just so small, maybe in the Western world, but really in the Eastern world, in the Indian family, it was just such a big deal of independence and growth and change and everything. But it has completely brought healing and prosperity to myself and to my family. This healing that I did, this training that I will give you, it will completely change the course of your life. It's not just one wish or 1 month of change. We're changing the next 10 years of our life, completely changing the projection and the way it will change for us very accurately towards every goal, every wish, and it will become bigger and you will have more wishes and you will start to reach all of them. I never thought it was possible, and I made each one possible for myself and all of my clients. Now I will do the same for you. So go sign up now. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day. If you join the live stream, this live stream late, you do it on recording. It was incredibly powerful. Do it on recording and you will feel a massive relief and confidence and excitement for change and healing. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in my workshop. Thank you again. See you soon.